Oh, we've been talking about this Rust shooting, not like actually shot with Rust, but Alec Baldwin and his production company were shooting a low-budget Western that had a whole bunch of problems that were out there, and he ended up killing the director of cinematography and then also injuring the director as well. And a whole bunch of weird things are coming out of this one. I don't think any charges have been laid yet, because the investigation is still ongoing. So, okay, fair enough. And Baldwin has been, I don't know, photographed with Halyna Hutchins, who is the dead cinematographer. He's been seen taking care of her family, which is, it's a nice gesture, okay? I don't want to take anything away from this just raving leftist. But for him to say he didn't pull the trigger, you killed her. So again, there's been a lot of different things, especially when it comes to this firearm, that have been out there as well, that there's been some false fires, there's been some misfires that have been out there. There was safety concerns from a lot of people that the union staff walked off the set and then they were replaced by scabs, and then they were also using that same firearm to also target shoot prior to the scene being shot, well, I guess, and prior to the cinematographer being shot. That was happening beforehand, and that live rounds were mixed with blanks and stunt shells. It was an entire fuck up of a situation. Long and short of it is, though, Alec was still the one who was holding the gun and was the last person to look into the eyes of Halyna Hutchins before she died. But for him to come out and say this to George Stephanopoulos, who, wow, once again gets all the exclusive interviews out there, to say that he didn't pull the trigger, you're still holding the gun, though. So you're still the producer on the project, so you're still going to get fucked in civil court. We're just going to have to see where criminal court lines up on this one. So let's take a look at the interview, okay? Alec Baldwin is insisting he didn't pull the trigger. Well, also some other scuttlebutt around the scene in question here was that the scene didn't call for the gun to be pointed at the camera or for the trigger to be pulled, so maybe he's banking on some of that, and then also playing into the misfire and then the prop problems that were happening prior to this entire situation coming down. It's a really shitty situation, all things considered. And do I want to see Baldwin go to jail? Oh, some part of me in the back of my head wants that, but is that likely going to happen? Probably not. Was it negligence on his behalf? Obviously. Was it his responsibility to check the gun? In a firearm sense, yes, but on a set, no. Should other people have been checking that as well? Yes. Didn't they? No. Is there a lot of passing the buck in this situation? Yes. Does this interview make things even more confusing? Of course it does. Alec Baldwin, yes, insisting that he didn't pull the trigger on the gun that killed a cinematographer and wounded the director on the New Mexico set of his film, Rust. Wonder if we're ever going to see that film ever, finished. That would be interesting. In his first interview since the deadly October 21st shooting, a tearful Baldwin told ABC News' George Stephanopoulos he has no idea how a live bullet ended up in the firearm. And to be fair, it's not really his job to load that up or to get the gun ready. It's just his, responsibility to be pulling, not pulling, shooting, aiming the fucking firearm, because he's the actor after all. But he is also the producer. Oh, the trigger wasn't pulled. I didn't pull the trigger. I think the aftermath would kind of beg to differ. Baldwin said in the preview clip of the interview released on Wednesday, I would never point a gun at anyone and pull the trigger to them. Never, he said. Again, Your Honor, if I may point you at the evidence presented. Authorities have previously said Baldwin was holding the prop gun. Prop gun, well, if it actually, it worked. Is it really a prop gun? While rehearsing a scene at the Bonanza Creek Ranch near Santa Fe, where it was accidentally discharged. Now, it sounds like it was successfully discharged. Cinematographer Halyna Hutchins was killed, and director Joel Souza was injured after they were struck with the live round. Someone put a live bullet in the gun, a bullet that wasn't even supposed to be on the property. Yeah, but it was, and you should have also known that your crew was target shooting with it, so shouldn't have been there, but it was, so you weren't really doing your due diligence either. Baldwin said in the ABC interview, which is set to air in full on Thursday, didn't watch it, don't really care. At one point during the hour-long interview, Baldwin could be seen sobbing and placing his head in his hands. I know he's a trained actor, and you know what, I'm going to give him some deference to that because killing somebody is probably fairly traumatic. Hopefully, and just going to touch wood on this one, hopefully it's something that I never have to experience myself. I don't look forward to that, so I'm just going to give him a little bit of leeway. So he's also, you know, criticized people for, you know, fake crying. So again, you got that side, but I like to think that at least I'm a little bit better than this raving leftist. So that's my moral stand on this one. I'm not going to criticize him or accuse him of fake crying. It's a shitty situation, all things considered. And asked if the film set was the worst thing that has ever happened to him, the Hollywood star said yes. The previous holder of that mantle in his record was somewhere between being caught cursing out his fat daughter or marrying Kim Basinger. Somewhere there. Baldwin also paid tribute to the slain photographer by saying it doesn't seem real that Hutchins is dead. I think back and I think of what I could have done. She was someone who was loved by everyone who worked with her and liked by everyone who worked with her and admired. I mean, even now I find it hard that she's gone and it doesn't seem real to me. The interview comes after a new search warrant approved by a judge on Tuesday revealed that the live round may have been left in the gun from a previous film production. But they were using... Wait, what? Fuck. See this entire situation. I don't think this is going to get resolved quickly in any sort of traditional means. It's just going to get drug out forever, and I think civil cases will probably be settled long before the criminal investigation ever gets figured out. Investigators revealed the developments in the case that sought permission to search a PDQ Arm and Prop LLC, an ammunition store in the Albuquerque strip mall. That's where you normally go for all of your Hollywood concerns. Supplied the ill-fated Western with props. No charges have been brought in the film set shooting, but authorities haven't ruled them out yet. Yeah, exactly. Baldwin's full interview will air, and has aired earlier this week. So yeah, a lot of people are passing blame, and have done a fair amount of coverage on this as well. So you got Hannah Gutierrez Reed, who's the armorer, who only got the position of being the armorer because her father, who I forget his name, Reed as well, is a famous armorer. She was previously thrown off of a Nicolas Cage production because she test fired a gun that also had a live round right next to Cage, who wasn't wearing ear protection because she's smart and good at her job. She also gave a live firearm to a underage actor because, again, another proof that she was a good hire. So she was run off of that film set, and then she found her way onto this one. And she has since passed the buck back and forth between the assistant director, who said that he checked the gun, which clearly he didn't, and said that it was a cold gun, but is that his responsibility? But she's also supposed to be the prop master and the armorer, so she was the one who was supposed to be loading that with nothing, or at least the scene didn't call for any casings or any shots to actually be fired, so why was she loading it that way? So hopefully that search warrant figures that out as well, because there should be some justice for the Hutchins family, because she has a son. She was only like 41 fucking years old. She has a son that's not going to grow up with a mother, and she also leaves behind a husband who's going to have to raise the kid because stupid Baldwin, I don't know, couldn't hire fucking better crew members. Because remember, at the end of the day, he was also a producer, and it was his production company who was filming this ill-fated disaster. So I don't know. There's a whole bunch of unanswered questions here, and that's stuff that's likely, like I said, not going to be figured out in a timely fashion. It's going to get drug out for a long period of time. But until we know more, that's where we're going to have to leave this story. And with that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.